Oh, ho, ho, Merry Hutmas. Yeah, I think it's high time I made another collection pickups video, and what better time to do that than just before Christmas, I thought. So here I am. I went back and looked on the channel to see when my last pickups video was. I figured, it's been a while, maybe like 5 or 6 months. No, actually, it was last December. So, I guess, as you get older, time really seems to start to fly, and that definitely has been my experience anyway. What I do with these videos is to just kind of show you all the things that I've been adding to my Jabba collection in recent months, or in this case, I guess in the past year, although these will not include things that I've done separate videos on. So, for example, all of the Regal Robot statues, that kind of thing, those I've already covered elsewhere on the channel. So this is more for smaller items that might have fallen through the cracks. I'm not going to make a dedicated video about, but I think are still very interesting to see. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. This might even be split up into a couple videos, depending on how long this takes, because I do have a fair amount to cover. Given that it's nearly Christmas, I thought I would start with a few sort of festive items and move from there in, I guess, just kind of random order. This guy, obviously, is a plush Jabba the Hutt dressed up as Santa Claus, and it was made available on the Shop Disney website around the beginning of October, as I recall. And it's still available there today. In fact, it's on sale. It's quite a bit cheaper than when I got it. Of course, I always have to rush and get them, and then it seems like they almost always end up going on sale. But whatever. I had to have my plush Santa Jabba for the Halloween season, of course. So anyway, he is fairly large, actually, decent size. Kind of reminds me of a Squishmallow in his feel. Very nice and squishy. Cool, kind of almost metallic-looking cloth that he's made out of. And, of course, he's got his candy cane and hat, as well as a beard. These are, well, I was going to say they're not removable. I guess you could. They're just sort of sewn on in various places. So now I'm starting to think that maybe I should try and get one of those cheap ones that are on sale right now and try removing this stuff, because I think you could fairly easily remove this and just have a plain Jabba plush. But that's neither here nor there. This is a very cool item. Honestly, it's right up my alley. Of course, Santa as Jabba is an old trope, but a good one. And it just kind of does my heart good to see Disney making this kind of cute plush still today for this character. So, yeah, I like it a lot. Our next item is this ugly Christmas sweater style sweater showing Jabba as Santa. This is from Merchoid, which is a British company, as I understand it. It was sent from the UK. I actually bought it on the basis of an Instagram ad, which I never do, but this one really got me. I couldn't resist. And it's nice. It is well made. I like the design, and also just the actual sweater aspect of it is pretty well done too, as I'll show you. But yeah, we got Jabba here as Santa saying ho ho ho. We've got Salacious Crumb. I'll get you a little closer here. I really like the frogs in the frog bowl. We've got a lot of his clan symbols there everywhere on the top and also on the bottom, with the Rancor as a repeated kind of design. And then on the sleeves, we've got Salacious Crumb a couple times, the clan symbol. We've got Boba Fett and either Greedo or Beto, not sure who that's supposed to be. Could be either one, I guess. Then if we take a look at the back, it's similar. We do have a lot of the same things repeated, but you also have the the actual palace and more of the same symbols. So if I had a complaint about this, it would be that I would have preferred to see more other characters from the palace instead of just repeating like Salacious Crumb and so forth over and over again. But that's kind of a minor thing. A nice thing about this is you might think that It's just printed on here, you know, to look like a sweater or look like it's been woven, but no, it's actually nicely woven, feels good, nice high quality. I mean, it's not a cheap sweater, so it should be, but I was actually pretty impressed with this. The only thing I would say, the only real caveat is I ordered it. I normally, well, not to get too personal here, but I tend to wear a 2XL in most things. But I was like, well, you know, I kind of want my sweater to be a bit baggy. I think I'll order the 3XL, thinking that maybe, you know, it would be baggy or, you know, just to prevent anything from happening, like if it shrunk or something. But it's actually just borderline wearable for me. So I don't know if there's something about their sizing that's a little strange or what, but I would just caution you, maybe if you do order something from them, to look at the measurements a little bit more closely than you might ordinarily. But otherwise, it's quite nice, and it's the only sweater of its kind that I think has ever been made, so that's pretty cool as well. Our next item are a couple of Christmas ornaments from Hallmark and Funko that are actually Walmart exclusives, as you can see from this little tag here. We have Jabba and Salacious Crumb in pop figure form, and yeah, I mean, these, I was told about these from a viewer, and so I ordered them online, and then just coincidentally I ended up at Walmart not long after I got these in the mail, and I found them at my Walmart as well, so I think they're not that hard to find, hopefully. But they are pretty cool. They are, well, let's get them out of the package and I'll show you them in a little bit more detail. They definitely have, Funko has made a lot of money on these designs, it seems to me. They've really used them a lot. Although, interestingly, if you're familiar with the Jabba Pops, you'll notice that this one here is the old design, the larger of the two. This is was originally a Walmart exclusive years ago, but you know, it's a giant one that I've reviewed on the channel. And they've shrunk it down, made it into a, I guess, plaster ornament. It's heavy, feels like it would break if you dropped it anyway. It's nice. It's a little strange, you know, not to have the new design at this point, but I'm guessing maybe something to do with the connection to Walmart had them use this design. I don't know. And then, of course, we have Salacious Crumb as well. Pretty cute, although scale-wise, it's a little weird, a little messed up. But yeah, I like these pretty well. The last of the semi-festive items that I'm going to talk about is this item here. I don't know if other people would consider this even to be like Christmas related or not, but I think it is. Now, this may be an American thing, a purely American thing, it may be a Midwest American thing, but we have these giant tins, and I've had these since I was a kid, giant tins of popcorn, and oftentimes, most of the time, they're divided into 3 sections with a little cardboard divider, and you have 3 flavors. Usually it's caramel corn, or caramel corn if you prefer, cheese corn, and just butter flavor. And yeah, I'm very familiar with this as a product. It's something we've had, you know, as I say, off and on again since my childhood. They come in these large metal tins, and nice thing about these is they're relatively sturdy. You can use them to store other things if you want afterward. I think I will do that. Well, we didn't eat the whole amount of popcorn, but we ate a lot of it, and then we cleaned out the rest of it, so this is now empty. And it can, of course, double as a drum as well. But here's a shot of what it looked like when it was full. This was an exclusive at Walmart, I believe. In fact, let's see here. You can look at the bottom there. It says Gift Pop. It's got the nutrition information and whatnot. Caramel, white cheddar, and butter. But anyway, these, as you can see, I mean, the red coloring and so forth kind of does, I think, evoke Christmas, but if you see the way that this was displayed in my Walmart, I think you'll agree that this is definitely a holiday item. But yeah, I was just excited to see Jabba so prominently featured right here. And he also has a number of other villains. Of course, it says the galaxy's villains there. I think they could have thought of a few more villains, to be honest with you, but they do have a lot of the key ones there for sure. So I recently made a YouTube short, and an Instagram reel about this figure. This is Jabba the Hutt. And yeah, that's actually true. This is Jabba in his Marvel Comics incarnation. And if you're aware of that whole situation, it's kind of summarized here on the back, but they came out with Marvel Comics version of Star Wars, and this was before Return of the Jedi had come out, several years before, but they had Jabba as a character in like the script and maybe the novelization, I don't know. He had existed, and they just didn't know what he looked like, so somebody just decided that they would choose this Nimbanel alien and say he's Jabba the Hutt. I don't know how they got away with that, to be honest with you. Later on, they kind of retconned it and decided that, no, this would be Mosep Benid, Jabba's accountant, who sometimes, for some reason, says that he's Jabba. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. No one would think he's a Hutt, but okay, let's just roll with it. It's fine. I made a whole video about him, as a matter of fact, so you can see that up there if you want, but I did want to take the time to show this off in a little bit more detail than I could fit in a short. It's on this this kind of thin, it's a thin card, but it feels like it might be made out of plastic, maybe? It's not quite a card back, but it is a card, and he's also on, attached to this, or rather, this bag is attached to the card, and he's put in the bag. So you can take him out without destroying anything, which I do appreciate. And here he is. Now, this guy looks a lot like the so-called Jabba from the Marvel Comics. I did have, and I, at some point or other, included this in a video, I do have this custom that someone made for me that is using the Hasbro Mosep Benid figure, but painted and slightly altered, in terms of the face sculpt, I believe. But this one is factory made to look like this, from the beginning, and he's nicely, finished. All of the next I didn't mention this is the next 17. This is made by the next 17, who I've shown off a number of times on the channel as well. It's all factory-made stuff, so a lot more high quality, generally speaking, than if you were just, painting a 3D printed figure, for example. Nothing against that. I've done plenty of that myself, as you probably know, but there is something a bit different about a factory-made figure. And also the paint is really, really nice and clean and everything. So if you're interested in this, these are available, I believe, still on the Next 17's website. But I did also want to introduce one other item that I got from the Next 17. Here we are. It is Luke in the Bacta-Tank. This is, well, it's a figure, and then it's inside of this Bacta-Tank accessory, I guess you'd say. So the top and the bottom come off. They're not really attached in any way, and then you've got this clear acrylic tube. And here we have Luke. Let's see if I can see him well enough. I think this is well sculpted. They've got his hair as if it's up, floating up in the water. They've got his facial scarring there, his little diaper and everything. Very cool. And, I'm a little tempted to try and recreate the actual water effect, but that might be a little bit tricky with this. But it's a very cool idea. Next 17, doing a lot of good work. Keep up the good work there, Graham. Before I talk about this item, I should mention that I am indeed working on the new Ultimate Collectors Series sail barge. I'm going to be doing a review of that. It's taking a little while. I don't think it's going to happen before the end of the year, but I am going to do that hopefully in the not too distant future. But this item right here, to give you just a little bit of LEGO content, was something that a viewer actually sent to me. Not the minifigures, but the actual throne itself. They designed this throne in the Lego Design Studio software, and then built it themselves and took it upon themselves to offer to not only send me the design, but also the actual bricks necessary to make it. So he sent me all the bricks nicely divided up into bags, just like Lego would. And so I built the bricks, or rather, I built the model using the bricks that he supplied me, which was really cool. His name is Rank Builds on Instagram. And if you want to check him out, he's been doing all kinds of interesting stuff related to Jabba and Lego. He's been doing some customs of the guys on the actual Lego sail barge. He's been doing some stuff from the palace, including obviously this this throne. But yeah, really cool stuff. Give him a follow if you're interested. Now let me just take these guys off the throne. These are, by the way, the minifigures from the actual sail barge set. I'm not going to talk about them at all until I get to the actual review, but just as a sort of little preview, that's where these came from. So he's got, a little pillow for Leia to sit on. He's got an area for Jabba where you can have kind of this cape as a bit of a, like an animal skin underneath him, although it does kind of get in the way of putting him on these studs, so I don't know. But you can put him there. We can have Salacious here, kind of on his own, sitting on a one stud pillow, one little, width pillow. But anyway, here is the actual throne itself, and I think it looks really good. It's a nicely conceptualized and designed throne. I like this railing quite a bit. And here we have the hookah pipe as well. Even included a couple different versions, a clear one and the green one, which I ended up going with. But very cool. Only thing is, it is a little bit on the fragile side, so you do have to be a little bit careful with it. But I think it looks great. Thanks very much for sending this to me. And as I say, check Rank Builds out on Instagram if you're interested. Earlier, I introduced the Santa Jabba plush from Disney. And I actually have one other plush, which you're seeing right here, which is a little bit interesting of a case. Design-wise, I don't really love it. I think it's a little bit weird looking, quite frankly. And it also doesn't feel quite as nice. It's, a little cheaper feeling. But this was actually something I discovered. Boy, I don't even remember how I found it, but it's only available in Canada, as far as I can tell. And for whatever reason, it was only available in Canada. Oh, I was on Amazon, I think. Somehow managed to stumble upon it, and I saw that it was available, but they would not ship it to me because there's some rules about this particular item. I suppose it's licensing rules. They don't allow them to ship, in this case, for whatever reason, to the U.S. And so I had to find another place. I found an online kind of game and role-playing wargaming type store that had it in stock somehow, and they sent it to me, thankfully. So I do have it, but it's kind of interesting to have that kind of story attached to something like this. Makes it a little more fun. But yeah, it's a decent Jabba plush, I would say. If we look here, it says, well, it's made in China, but it says it's manufactured for Imports Dragon, and then it's covered over here, but it's got some information like a Canadian address and so forth. Yeah, so that's basically it. I got it from kingdomtitans.ca is the store that was able to get it to me, so thank you all for that. But yeah, kind of weird looking. All right, our next item is none other than Jabba the Nug, which is, as you may be able to guess, Jabba the Hutt as a chicken nugget. And he is accompanied by Delicious Crumb, who is Salacious Crumb as a hamburger. Now, if you're of a certain age, roughly my age, I guess you'd say, you may recall that there are there was a series of McDonald's commercials that featured chicken nugget puppets and hamburgers and things talking and singing, which, you know, if you think too much about it, is a little strange, but they were quite popular for a while. They had some toys and things, merchandise made for them, and that's basically what this is inspired by. This is made by Beast Labs. Beast Labs, you may recall, if you're a longtime viewer of the channel, created this guy, who is basically a Toxic Avenger style figure using it's a cast of the vintage Jabba head, and I even have a neon version of the same one. These are some of my favorites I've ever gotten, honestly. They're really, really cool. This one, in a way, is a companion to that, I feel, because this uses the body of the vintage Jabba, but not the head, and this used the head and not the body. But anyway, in terms of how this was created, I believe this is a combination of a cast of the Salacious Crumb figure with a 3D printed head, and then they're painted on top of that. And this one is an actual Jabba, I can tell just from the feel and everything, an actual Jabba body that's been painted, made so that the tail doesn't move, and then they've attached a 3D printed head to that and kind of made it look relatively seamless. So very creative stuff from Beast Labs. He's a guy on Instagram, a creator who mostly, I think, does one-off art figures and things like this. He's not mass-producing things, but he does have certain themes that he likes, like E.T. and, well, you know, the McDonald's thing and so forth. But he's very creative, and I'm never disappointed when I check out his account there. So, you know, feel free to look at the link in the video description. By the way, this is not the first Jabba as a chicken nugget figure in my collection, of course not. I also have this one here made by Simeon Cheese, and that was presented to me, I think in 2020. He very kindly sent this to me. He's got a little bud in the back there. Anyway, I just thought this was really amusing. This was, as I say, a one-off kind of piece that I was lucky enough to be able to get in and buy when he put it up for sale. Next up we have this large patch. This was sent in from my friend Mario from Italy, and he tells me that Cartoomix 2022, I guess a comic book convention, and that Galaxy Club is kind of a Star Wars related charity organization that, anyway, they put out this Jabba related patch that he got for his own Jabba collection that he has, and he offered to get me one too, which was very nice of him. So I took him up on that. He sent it to me as a gift, so I appreciate that a lot. It's a nice image of Jabba here on the throne. He's got his tail curled around Han, and then in the background we've got the meat rotisserie, apparently. But yeah, I think this is a really cool patch and a good addition to the collection for sure. If you ever need to mark some balls, I guess you can use this. This is a ball marker from the company Roosevelt's that normally I associate with kind of fancy shirts. In fact, I have a couple of them that are Star Wars themed. May talk about them at some point. But this is, I understand, you know, used in golf to, I guess, mark the position of where a ball was. I never played golf, not particularly interested in it, so maybe I'm misunderstanding some aspect of this, but this is essentially, if you get right down to it, a enamel pin without the pin part. So, in other words, it's made out of metal, and it's got some paint, you know, enamel paint type thing on it, but it's not got the actual pin that you would normally use to attach it to something. So, in fact, they've just hot glued it to this card, and here we have, as you can see, it's just a thin piece of metal with some information on the back. $15 for this, but I had to have it, of course. I did notice that they also had some other, well, they had some other Star Wars stuff, but they also had other Jabba-related ball markers, believe it or not. They had a Sarlacc and they had a Rancor, but I decided I would not buy those. Yes, I I occasionally have to be sensible, but I am glad that I was able to get this one to add to my growing collection of golf-related Jabba merchandise. Some of you may have thought that I was kidding when I said that I was adding to my collection of Jabba golf merchandise, but no, I do have a little bit. I made a short about this one, I believe, a while back when I got it. This is from Hatch Golf, and it's a golf club cover featuring artwork of Jabba on here with some sort of cheeky golf-related Star Wars things like a Jawa caddy there. Very, honestly, very cool thing for kind of a lame product in a way, because I don't know why you would really need this kind of thing for your golf clubs. But I did actually buy a used club just so that I could, you know, get the full experience here. Let's see if I can fit it in here. This does have a kind of a automatically clamping feature there. So, pretty cool. But that's not what I wanted to show you. I actually have one other item that I got recently-ish that I want to include in this video, and that is this right here. This is a dry dot. Now, this is an interesting product in several ways. The concept is that it's just basically a rare earth magnet in a piece of plastic here with different designs on the front. And as I understand it, you're supposed to use it to hang up your golfing gloves onto your golf cart and allow them to kind of dry out. I guess they get sweaty. You can tell I don't golf, but there's a whole, company essentially that's just making products for this. Just seems kind of crazy to me. The other thing that's interesting about this, though, is that, well, first of all, they advertised that they were doing a kind of limited edition Star Wars collection type thing, and this is one of those. But if you look closely at it, and I didn't, at the time when I was ordering it, it 100% AI generated. It even has Jabba here with legs. He's kind of sitting cross-legged. It's called Dogs at the Turn, apparently getting hot dogs at like the 9th hole or something, about halfway through is a tradition among some people. Again, not a golfer, but so it is weird artwork in that sense, but I do, in the sense that it's a weird, very, very, very niche product. I do quite like this, and I will give it one thing. It is a very strong magnet, so I think it would do what it is supposed to do. I don't think I've talked about this on the channel. I did post it on Instagram when I got it. This is, of course, a Jabba mug. Now, there have been other Jabba mugs, figural mugs, I guess I should say. There's been a number of mugs that have Jabba on them, but this is literally in the shape of Jabba. There's one made by Think Geek back in the day, and you can still find those available sometimes. And to be frank, it's a much nicer one than this one. But I found this, the kind of cool thing about this was that I was able to get this locally at a local Meijer grocery store here, and they were just had them on the shelf. And so it's not too often that you can get a figural Jabba mug just strolling down the aisles of your supermarket. So I was kind of excited about that. He's a little bit goofy looking, if I'm honest, but I do like it. Speaking of mugs, we also have this mug from Hallmark. This is a Rancor, as you can probably tell. The cool thing about this, well, there's a couple cool things. It's got a nice finish to it. It's kind of a rough pottery type finish that seems appropriate. Kind of reminds me of maybe like the bars in the Rancor pit or something. And we've also got this detail there that's similar. But we've also got, in the design of the Rancor here on the front, a little cavity here that you can put things into if you want to. The idea, supposedly, is that you would put a cookie in here that you could have it sort of stored there in your coffee mug while you're drinking, I guess. I think it would fall out if you did this, if you actually drunk out of it, maybe, but I don't know. I've never actually used it, and I probably won't. It's more for decorative purposes in my case, but it is very cool looking, I think. This one I got months and months ago, but I was literally at a Hallmark store today trying to get some Christmas cards at the last minute, and they actually had this here at that, at my store. So it's still available if you're interested. Speaking of Rancor-themed beverages, I guess, we have this empty can of Fear the Rancor beer. This was, it says BA Pecan Maple Danish Imperial Stout, 13.5%. So fairly strong. From Neon Raptor Brewing Company. Now this I was given from a local friend who actually went to celebration in England, whenever that was, 2-3 years ago, I guess. And this was created by Neon Raptor Brewing Company, which is from Nottingham in the UK. He actually brought home somehow some full cans of this, and I was able to sample it, actually. It's pretty good, pretty strong, kind of a sweet flavor. I'm not really, to be honest with you, a connoisseur of beers by any means, but I thought it was interesting flavor, and definitely I couldn't pass up the chance to taste a Rancor-themed stout for sure. This can, by the way, I guess this is kind of typical of what microbreweries do. It's I think it's just a blank black can that they've put a metallic sticker on, but it's very seamless looking, so you wouldn't really even be able to tell unless I pointed that out to you like I just did. Anyway, thanks very much for this, Will. I appreciate it. Next up, we have a couple of polymer clay sculptures. Now, these are made by Tom Fetus, who goes by the name Lonely Puddings on Etsy. A lot of names there, but he, I guess for lack of a better word, specializes in fetus-like sort of monsters or, other little sculptures that they have a very different and unique style that I really like, although sometimes they're a little on the disturbing side. These ones were part of a Star Wars related or Star Wars themed line that he did about, 6 months ago or something like that. And I was really tempted, in fact, to get all of them, but I did not. I tried to stay a little bit sensible. I was tempted by his Rebo band, though, in particular. In the end, I just got Jabba and little fetusy Leia here, and, called it good, but part of me still kind of regrets not getting more. So these are, as I say, done in a kind of polymer clay, I believe. So I think these are all sculpted from scratch. He did, I think, 4 of these Jabbas, but they're all going to be slightly different. And it's got a little bit of almost a rubbery quality to it. It may be a foam polymer clay, maybe. I don't know. It's got an interesting feel. It's not very heavy, but it does feel, pretty sturdy. Great, great style on this. And then we have the little Leia here with her little horns or buns or whatever they are here on her head, and a chain attached. In addition, he didn't mention this in the listing when I got it, but he also included a tiny little baby Jabba, which, if anything, is even cuter. Look at this guy. Wow. I really enjoy these. Check out his Instagram page or his Etsy store, which I'll put in the video description, but definitely one of my favorite acquisitions of the last year. This is a bag clip from Monogram Collectibles, and I've actually got a couple other ones that they've made. They've made 3 Jabba bag clips over the years, starting, I think, in about 2021. This is the latest one, though, from Series 6, I guess, of their Star Wars stuff. They've made a lot of these, but this one has, of course, just Jabba and his hookah pipe. Other ones, which I'll show you here, had Jabba on his own with Salacious Crumb as a separate one, and then they also had one bag clip that combined Jabba and Salacious into a single one. But this is the latest one, and it's pretty cool. And I'll have to say, I'm just happy when they when they include Jabba in this kind of thing. It's made out of kind of a rubbery material, and I don't know how well these actually would hold up if you hang them on a bag. You know, they feel like they've got some parts that might come off fairly easily, but I'm not actually using them. I'm just kind of hanging them up for decoration, so I think they'll be fine. No, this is not a chocolate Jabba, although you'd be forgiven for thinking that, I think. This probably requires a little bit of explanation. I originally, a few years ago, up until a few years ago, I should say, I had a set of latex castings for the conceptual Jabba the Hutt that was used kind of in the process of Kenner's making of the vintage Kenner figure. I've talked about them, I think, a couple of times on the channel, but you know, here they are. You can see that it's a much simpler sculpt than they went with for the final one, but they were just kind of trying to figure out what they were going to do just physically to make this into a figure. And unfortunately, I ended up having to sell those. It didn't make sense. They were worth quite a bit of money, as it turned out. They'd appreciated quite a bit since I got them. And I decided, well, you know, I could really use that money more than I could use that on the shelf. So I'm sure people are familiar with that. I very rarely sell things from my collection, but that was one exception I made. So when I saw this, which is it's a casting of another piece, but it's the same sculpt that was used in that conceptual Jabba. When I saw this on eBay, this definitely attracted my attention right away. This is, as I say, a casting of an original piece. So this is not the original piece. I think this may have been made as late or as early as the 90s, just as a kind of collector's piece. It's made of resin. I'm not entirely sure, but it supposedly was made from an actual, you know, Kenner prototype in the collection of Ron Salvatore. And there was a small run of them made. Mine seems to be either 9 or 60, but I don't think it would be 60. Number 9. And you know, I just wanted to have some representation of that conceptual Jabba in my collection, so I did pick this up. Still, you know, even though this is not the actual piece that Kenner used, it is pretty rare because it is taken directly from the original conceptual prototype. So pretty excited to have tracked this one down. All right, one minor item here is a pair of socks. I suppose, I don't know if these are intended for kids or for, you know, women or what. I haven't actually, you know, tried to wear them or anything, and I don't think that would end well for me. But you know, they're kind of like ankle socks. And these are, in fact, from Japan. These feature Jabba and Salacious in kind of, you know, cute anime-esque designs, which I thought was pretty cool. But these are indeed licensed socks. I got these because I was getting some other stuff from Japan sent from an auction, you know, forwarding type place. And I saw, when I did my last-minute Jabba search to see if there was anything else that was available, these came up, so I thought that was kind of cool. These, as far as I know, were not available in the US at all. Next we have an item that I actually got as a Christmas present last year, and I did put it on Instagram shortly thereafter, but I don't think I've ever talked about it on the channel. This is an apron that my sister made for me, at my request, I'll admit, but she's, you know, a handy person who likes to do a lot of crafting and things like that, so she, you know, was the one to go to, let's put it that way. This is made out of a vintage Return of the Jedi bedsheet. As you can see right here, we've got the Return of the Jedi logo, and here's Vader and the Imperial Guards. She then, you know, cut it up and used the material to make the apron, and then this here is actually a separate piece of material from the same set of bed sheets that she used to make a pocket, because of course she knew that I would like Jabba to be front and center here, and she was definitely correct there. I actually got the idea for this when I was watching an old British TV show, I think it's from the late 70s, called Open All Hours. It's about a couple guys who run a corner store in Britain, basically, but Granville, one of the younger kind of shop assistant, I guess you'd say, was wearing a very similar apron to this that must have been, I think, handmade. You know, I don't think they ever sold them like that. I could be wrong. Maybe they did at some point in England. But Anyway, it was very similar, not exactly the same as this one here, different pattern in the sheets, I think, slightly, but same general concept, and so I decided I would like one of those myself, and now I have one, so that's pretty cool, I thought. Our next item is this pin of Max Rebo from Xanadu Pins. I had never heard of Xanadu Pins before, but I saw that they were doing some kind of sale on some of their pins, including this one, which turned out to be a really good deal. And I decided to go ahead and pick this up, and I'm glad I did because it is super nice quality. Nice and big as well, but I really like the way this looks. Obviously based on, I think, a still from the movie, but really nice. They have dozens and dozens of Star Wars and other pins there, so I would check them out if you're interested. This one, I believe, is still available, although it's not on sale anymore. But yeah, if we take off the backers there, you can see the back of the pin. Very cool. Here's one of the smaller additions to the collection. This is a Micro Pops Max Rebo. It's just made out of rubber, so it feels kind of like a pencil eraser or something like that. This was from France in 2017. They had a line of these little guys, and they all have suction cups on the bottom, so you can put them onto a piece of glass or something, and they'll stick there. I got this. It was kind of surprising because I kind of thought I had all of the Max Rebo stuff that was out there, but this one had escaped my notice, and Will, my friend who gave me this Rancor can that I showed earlier, he has a Max Rebo collection, and he had this one in it, and I was like, where the hell did you get that from? And not quite like that, but I was like, wow, I've never seen that. Where can I get one? And they're not actually rare or anything, but I just didn't know it existed, so I was able to pick it up on eBay relatively cheaply, which was nice. A little hard to get this guy in the shot, but this is the Gentle Giant Jumbo 8D8 figure. It's based on the vintage Kenner 8D8 figure, of course, the torture droid in Jabba's dungeon. This was a Premier Guild exclusive, so you had to belong to their little club to be able to order this. Here is the actual Kenner one, of course. There's quite a bit different in size. This one was the Premier Guild gift, or a Premier Guild gift that you could select for 2023, but it didn't actually arrive until mid-2024, which is kind of par for the course for Gentle Giant, if I'm honest, but it came out pretty well, I would say. Of course, they do have a large card back that it comes on, as you can see here, so pretty cool. I added him to my ever-growing collection of Gentle Giant Jumbo figures, including all the ones that I've gotten up until now, and the giant 3D printed Jumbo Jabba that I made a whole video about a while back. Someday I'm going to have to make a nice way to display all of those, but I just have them kind of on a shelf in my basement at the moment. One other item from Gentle Giant I got was this Barat mini bust. I've been collecting their mini busts for many years, and they've been churning them out at a ever decreasing rate, it seems like, but they're still making them. And this one in particular, I believe, was also a Premier Guild reward, so-called. But it is quite well done, I think. It's a nice-looking bust. If you look at him a little bit more closely, you can see it's nicely sculpted, pretty hefty as well. The only thing I don't like about it, really, is that they've posed him this way, using, this vibro axe horizontally, which means that it can, depending on how you have your setup set up, it can be hard to display. Although it's better than having it vertical, that's for sure. That is much more difficult. But yeah, I have had a little bit of trouble finding a place to fit this guy in. Next up we have some 3D printed figures from Trash Compactor Customs in the UK. I've talked about them on the channel before a number of times. The main reason I got these, or the impetus for making an order from them anyway, was to get this humanoid Jabba figure. And yes, it's another humanoid Jabba. This is Of course, the one from A New Hope, played by Declan Mulholland. This was famously cut from the movie. I'm not going to go into the whole thing because I actually want to make a video about it, and I've kind of been putting it off. This is part of that video, or will be, I think, when I finish this and paint it up and everything. But for the moment, here it is. This was sculpted by Toy Otter, who is I guess, a former toy industry sculptor, I think, but a little bit mysterious in a way. But I've been following him on Instagram for quite some time, and he's been doing a lot of very cool sort of concept pieces for vintage toys that I guess never got made, or that he thinks would be cool if they were made, but, you know, they were just digital, essentially, artwork, but they did exist as 3D models, and as a matter of fact, Trash Compactor Customs worked out a deal with them to print a few of the Star Wars-related ones, including this guy, and sell them. So that's what I got here. It's a nice-looking version of Declan Mulholland, I think. And then I also got some creatures from Jabba's palace. We have Goel here, I believe, is how you pronounce it. I made a whole video about him. Wool Cabashite. They don't make it easy to pronounce some of these names, I'll have to say. Yeah, you can check out that video if you're interested, but it's the guy who kind of clings to the ceiling in Jabba's palace in a couple scenes. We have Wart, who's the frog-like guy, sort of in the desert outside. This is a really nice one, a lot of cool detail in the sculpt. We've got, I think this is called a sand skitter. They made one of these for the Sideshow Collectibles Jabba in part of like an accessory pack. I don't even know if you can see this, it's so tiny, but he looks like a little combination slug and rat, I guess. Then we've got, over on this end, Hoover, otherwise known as Atark. I made a video about him as well. Never actually appeared in the film, but they did make him. They made a whole puppet for him. You can check out my video if you want to see more about that. And finally we have this guy, who is Loje Nella. Again, not 100% sure how you're supposed to be pronouncing some of these, because they were never said on screen, and without doing a little more research, I can't even remember if this guy actually appeared anywhere, but was definitely created for Return of the Jedi. So anyway, it's a good opportunity to get some of the really obscure aliens from Jabba's palace. I'll put a link to his Etsy store in the video description if you're interested. I just realized when I finished up that earlier segment that I had forgotten to include this guy. This is Bubo, who is also from Jabba's palace, kind of sits next to the throne. He's a frog dog, so-called, but very, very good sculpt. It's amazing how detailed these little teeth are, for example. Probably fairly fragile as well, but they've held up so far, as you know, just having them on display. So this guy is also available from Trash Compactor Customs. This next item is, I guess, only tangentially related to Jabba, but honestly, I consider all Rancors to be essentially Jabba collectibles, and I pretty much collect all the Rancor stuff as well. This particular one is, you know, even more related to Jabba than most, because this is from the Book of Boba Fett, and this is the Rancor, of course, that Boba Fett was given by the Hutt twins, and later on learned how to ride and train and everything. And at the end, I guess it was the final episode, I'm not sure, I can't remember at this point, but there was a scene, you know, where the two of them kind of make friends, I guess you'd say, Grogu and the actual Rancor. So this is a figure made by Hasbro as part of their bounty collection. A little bit of a strange concept, because it's I mean, it's a figure. They're rubbery plastic figures, but they don't have any articulation, and they're only just, you know, in one pose here, sleeping. It does come with this little cloth, which I think I have upside down now that I'm looking at it. It's got a fuzzy side to it. But anyway, yeah, a little bit of a weird one, because you can't really play with Grogu like this, I don't think. And this is not the most dynamic pose for a Rancor either, but they are super cute, and there really aren't that many things from Book of Boba Fett as collectibles, period, I think. So anyway, I just thought it was cool when I first saw it in the store. This is one of those rare items that I saw in the store in person before I knew about it, and so it was pretty cool to see that just in my local store, and picked one of them up. Anyway, it's a pretty cool item, and I thought it was cute. I actually had more things that I wanted to show you, but some of them I'm not entirely sure where I put them, so I don't think I have time to look around and find them all, and I also probably don't have time to cover everything anyway. So I've decided to stop it here, and otherwise I probably won't have time to finish editing this up before Christmas. But I did want to just have a few parting remarks. Obviously, check the video description for information about all the items that I talked about here today, and also for my Instagram page. If you follow me there, you'll see all the stuff that I add to my collection more or less as it comes in. A lot of the stuff that I've been showing off in this video I showed on Instagram months ago, and so that's definitely the best place to go if you want to see the latest additions to my collection. One other thing I'm going to do is make a playlist of all of the holiday-related videos that I've made on this channel. I've been doing this for quite a number of years now, and over that time I've done a lot of Christmas-related videos. A couple years I did advent calendar type videos where I do a video a day, and other times I've done Christmas-related, pickups videos like this, or projects, various other things. So if you're interested, don't have enough Jabba-related Christmas items yet, you can look on that playlist and get your fill there. I'll put the link at the end of this video and also in the video description. Be sure you do check out the video description so that you can see links to all the things that I've been talking about today, and follow me on Instagram, as I said. By the way, late breaking news, I did decide to order another one of these so that I can remove his beard and hat and everything, and we'll see what that looks like. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll be able to see that. Alright, well that's about it for today. I know it's been a long time, and I haven't been putting out very many videos, but I thank you for sticking with me, and I hope you have a very Merry Huttmas and a Happy New Year.